Hello, hello, Movement for Modern Life family. I'm Kat and founder of Movement for Modern Life, and I'm feeling very cozy. I'm snuggled up on the sofa with about 1 million dogs, just feeling nice and evening-y, cozy. And I've got Dan Peppiatt, who I want to talk to Dan. And I want to talk to him today about the benefits that he's found from doing meditation, breathwork, and mindfulness. I know, tiny little topics. But I know that he's really found them and that they have really helped him in his life. Now, Dan Peppiatt, it says join. Now, let me see if I can get him. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Can we go live with Dan Peppiatt? Go live. Go. Yes. Is this going to work? Go live. Yes.
I'm here.
You're there. And that is a miracle.
That isn't it? It's for me.
It's a miracle when technology works. I know that I work in a sort of tech business. Still, I find it a miracle.
It's a bit. It's pretty weird. It's
lovely to see your face, Dan. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
It's been too long.
I know.
I promised you a dog-free zone, yet look at this. This is terrible.
It's never going to happen.
Never in a million
Never
years.
going to be a dog-free zone.
So, Dan, it's been since last year that we caught up, because last year we ran an amazing meditation breathwork course. We ran them as 2 courses over the winter.
We did.
And those are things that kept me going over the winter. Did you know that?
I hear it now and then.
I hear it. Good. Because I don't know where I'd be over this festive season without the thought that I have some kind of a Dan antidote coming up.
Oh, sweet.
It's super cool. It's super cool. So first of all, I want to thank you for running this live course, which is going to start next Tuesday evening.
That's right.
At this time.
Tuesdays. It's always a Tuesday. Every year, I think it's always a Tuesday evening.
It's tradition. We can't break it.
No,
now.
it's strictly. It's the meditation strictly.
Yes, absolutely. But a hell of a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Not strictly.
It's totally way better. So what I wanted to say is that at this time of year, I personally find it quite overwhelming. It's full on. And sure. I find that especially doing meditation and like breathwork practices in a live community, it's just better with other people. And do you find that, Dan? Like, do you find that effect of like doing things with other folks, it just makes things different?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. I think there's just some accountability, not in a good or bad way, but it's just like, other people have turned up and and made the effort, and they probably had other stuff they could have been doing as well, but they've chosen to do that. And then to get there and see that there's loads of other people also doing it gives you a real boost. Because
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's like mutual support, because it's a bit like that. We're a bit of a support crew.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody involved wants everyone else to succeed as well. If it's such a thing as success in meditation. Yeah, they want to stick to it, and they want them to feel some benefit from it.
I think just showing up.
Yeah.
Showing up. That's the thing. That's the hard thing.
It is for meditation.
Yes, it sure is. And in fact, we've had a question. So we've got a few questions from lovely people who want to find out. Cool. Yeah, definitely a dog-free zone. No
dogs to be seen in here. Look at
that. No dogs in this house.
Fluffy teddy bear.
Flipping things. So the first question is:
thank you.
Somebody is super busy.
Yeah.
They can't spend an hour on Tuesday evenings doing this.
Sure.
They're too busy.
Sure.
And people are busy. I get that. That's normal.
I mean, it's the one that if I probably get one question more than any other, it's
Yeah.
how do I fit this into my life? And
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, I'm a little bit equivocal on that one, because
Oh, go
I could,
on then.
which is unusual for me, because I'm normally quite accommodated, but but the same goes for me, really. There are other things I could always be doing instead of practicing my meditation. Like, I could always be chasing up my admin or doing one of the many other things, that I put off, and the things that I actually do need doing.
Or doing
I'm doing
fun things
fun things, exactly.
like making drums or
I,
surfing, even though it's nighttime.
all
Like,
that.
I know that you also like to do fun stuff as well,
Oh,
Glenn.
I do lots of fun. Life's about fun.
Right.
Someone said to me, I'm coping, the other day, and I
Oh,
said, life's not about coping. I think
oh,
if that's your marker, but you're coping, maybe you should reassess, because life's sort of for enjoying as well. But anyway,
right.
I'm sidetracking. So yes, it's a very, very good point. You get to a point where you feel that it's useful, or it will be useful, and therefore to allocate time to practice meditation or mindfulness or whatever you want to call it actually becomes the most valuable thing in your day, because it then has an impact on everything else in your life, be that like relationships with your kids, your relationship with your working life,
Yes.
and everything else. It's not like this standalone practice that I really don't like it to be seen as that's just shoehorned, as a separate thing. It should become like an integral part of your day, really, or your life anyway. It should be fully integrated.
Yes, I like that. And I suppose as I'm hearing that and the things that pop into my head around that, um, first of all, that this is a well-being practice, which is it's almost preventative medicine. It's like it'll possibly stop, your relationship breaking down, so you don't have to waste time going on Tinder and all that
All of
rubbish,
that.
and possibly stop you from getting sacked, and possibly help you to keep your friends. So,
Exactly.
possibly it's a time saving.
Probably is, in fact, but we don't ever see that. Yeah, I think because I think the problem with most things with humans is we're not very good at seeing the long picture. It's all immediate stuff and immediate gratification, and the problem with a lot of this mental or internal work is that it's not even like going to the gym where
There's no pecs.
no,
There's no
exactly.
pecs to show.
People go, oh, I don't know what I'm getting out of this, but then all of a
Yes.
sudden maybe you've stuck with it for a month and you go, oh, that was weird, I didn't snap at my
Yes.
such and such today when they said that little thing, or someone cut me up, I wasn't irritated for just silly little things you start to notice, and then you start to join up the dots and think, maybe it's because I've actually stuck with this. And yeah.
Yeah, right. And so that's the thing. It's kind of remembering the benefits. So there are some benefits, and there are also loads of physical health benefits as well, right? Because like when we are able to soothe our nervous system in that way, we are going to be physically healthier too,
Yeah,
because it's the same thing.
absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, a lot of us, would I say the majority probably, and I don't discount myself from this when, if I'm not on it and I'm not focused, we're just running very much on what we'd call our sort of sympathetic nervous system, or towards our end. And,
Yes.
the sympathetic nervous system isn't very sympathetic, unfortunately. That's a bit of a misnomer. It's, we're on this fight and flight, and we're just slowly burning ourselves out. And then when that goes on chronically for a long time, then we very easily start to succumb to illnesses and conditions that might have otherwise not
Yeah.
presented themselves.
Yeah. It's like a lot of inflammatory conditions. And inflammatory conditions are some of the worst ISISes,
Yeah.
and yes, yeah, and also horrible cancers. And so not to think about that, but I think for folks who are thinking, I don't have the time to do this, do you know what I sometimes think? And this might sound morbid, but this comes from somebody who I used to have to spend 2 to 3 days in bed every month. And
Oh,
I don't personally have time to do that anymore.
no.
So this is the reason why I stick with my practices, because I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm going to be in bed for 2 to 3 days,
Yeah,
exhausted every month. And I don't
yeah,
have time, but I do have time for an hour a day.
yeah.
So that's kind of, that preventative health piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really it's just valuable in ways that we can't immediately see, and that intangibility makes it hard for people to commit
Yes.
to something. It's a little bit like saying, why do you put money in your pension pot? I mean, I don't have a pension, but let's pretend I did. People put money in a pension pot because they assume that one day it will be useful. Even though they could really do with the money today to spend on a
Right.
holiday, they sort of think, oh yeah, but if I make it to whatever the government decide is pensionable age now, if I make it that far, then I'll have this cushion there. There's some
Yes.
rationale, and I think this is absolutely no different at all. It's an investment in,
Yes.
like you said, in your physical health, your mental health, your relationships,
Yes.
everything.
I really strongly feel that. And as somebody, I'm perimenopausal, so I'm not able to cope with stress in the same way. And
Mm.
doing a daily meditation practice for me has been an absolute game changer. And I probably wouldn't have started if we hadn't have started with our check-in every week, because it is that thing about doing things together that gets the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we did that for 10 weeks, didn't we, last year?
Yeah,
Like
it was
two and a
great.
half months of checking in every week for an hour.
It was
Um,
so useful to get that
and-
practice started, to get it embedded.
yeah,
So I would say that to somebody, I think we're on the same page here. It's like that preventative medicine, isn't it?
definitely. I mean, and if you really can't do it on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock, then that's totally valid. But I mean, you can. I always say if you can't fit something in, then wake up an hour earlier and do it then.
Yes.
Or half hour earlier. You could just watch them back on a Wednesday morning at 6:30 or 6 o'clock
Yeah.
or something. It's we're lucky that everything was now recorded, isn't it? And
Yeah.
in anything online, basically.
Well, if Kat remembers to press the record
It
button,
totally.
hit and miss.
It happens. Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get there. But the other thing is, because of course we're making this sound quite earnest and it's quite good for you, it is also quite fun.
It is when you get into it. It's really fascinating,
Do you,
and
I was going to ask, Dan, do you find it fun,
I don't
your
know.
meditation
I don't know if
practice?
fun's the word. I suppose. I mean, it's difficult with any language, isn't it? Because it's so objective or subjective or whatever one it is. I don't know. But
Does it bring
that
you joy doing it?
you could say joy. I would say peace,
Yeah.
stillness.
I'll take
But
that.
for me, that is joyous.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Like I love stillness. I love silence. Not necessarily just like physical, but I like silence internally. And
Mm.
I'm no different to everybody else. There are times when I mean, it's hard because I have a group that meets in the mornings, but so I can't really lunch out for a long time. But there are days when I forget to practice. Or I just get up and I'm like, oh God, I've got to go to wherever, right? And the day is a rush, and I've really noticed that when I'm not,
Mm.
adhering to the practice in the way that I know works for me.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
but it
cool.
is, yeah, for me. I wouldn't say fun or joy, but you could use those words. I would say just stillness, peace,
Yeah.
silence, internally
Nice.
still.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I really like this next question, Dan. It made me giggle. Is there any way that I can do this without looking like, and I can't remember, I've got exact words in front of me because I'm not that organized, but it's basically, is there any way I
Yeah.
can do this without looking like a nutcase? And I love that.
It's all inside. I mean, well, we're all nutcases, if you want to put it in that, you know. We probably all are already. I think we're all working with our own special set of internal madness, and I don't believe there's anyone out there who isn't. You know,
Yes.
it's often said, you know, the people that walk down the road talking to themselves out loud, you know, we call them mad, but we're all doing that in our own heads all day long.
Well, that's very true. Good point.
It's very true. To some people, choose to verbalize it. But I mean, the good thing about all this is you could do it wherever. You know, you could do it if you're running a marathon. You could do it if you're walking down the road. You can do it sitting with your legs crossed. You could do it standing on the bus or on the tube. No one has the faintest idea you're doing it, because it's all internal. Although some of the tools might be, you know, like the breath or something else that could be external. You can even observe your breath. You know, you just observe even if you're doing that, no one knows you're doing it. So yeah, it's all about what's going on inside, really, not what's going on outside. And you certainly don't need to cross your legs, close your eyes. In fact, I encourage people not to close their eyes to meditate if you really want to get to grips with it, because most of your day you haven't got your eyes closed. So it's not much use if you have to shut your eyes. Then it's only good when you go to bed, basically. That's I highly encourage meditation or mindfulness with your eyes open. It's actually, I find it easier, because when we close our eyes, we go very internal, and when we close our eyes, you know, we can just be quite easily carried away by our thoughts and anxieties and worries, etc., etc. But when we've got our eyes open, there's some sort of connection to what is right now. And although people are a bit reluctant at first, I think, you know, with a bit of experimentation, people actually quite, you know, they can sort of dig it.
So, from what I heard from that, I heard that we can keep our eyes open so nobody will know.
Yeah.
And I also heard that you said that to focus on the breath. And that's actually a tool which anyone can do at any time, just to focus on the
There's
breath.
nothing simpler. I mean, there's people often want to know, like, what techniques are you going to do, and what get, you know, and it's human nature that we always just want to learn another party trick, or we want another quick fix pill.
Yes.
And it's like,
yes, please.
oh, finally this person's come up with this patented breathwork technique and it's ticked all the boxes. It's like, genuinely, this just, I'm a patient person, but all that stuff, just I lose my patience with. It's like, there is no magic pill out there that's going to work for everybody. The magic pill that we need is commitment and sticking to a practice, and it doesn't.
No, give me the other magic pill. I want the other one.
Everyone wants it, don't they? Because they think they don't have to be committed. But nobody ever did anything great without commitment, and you know, this is pretty great, I gotta say.
That's such a cool answer. That's so cool, because you're absolutely flipping right. It's like all these come on, Dan, give us that tip, that one little tiny thing. It's like, yeah, the tip is do it.
The tip is do it, keep doing it, and you know, don't lunch out and don't make excuses. You could take any breath technique you wanted, probably. There's nothing special about any technique. You know, what's special about anything is the practice, is the doing it and the not stopping doing it, and really exploring it.
Yeah.
Showing up, exactly, Vicky.
Yeah, the art of showing up. Nice one. I like that. Yeah, and that's kind of what our sessions are all about, is like, let's just show up and be there in community. All of us just learning how to do these things, which are going to do pretty awesome things for our body and minds.
Yeah, but let's just ask questions, you know. Try things and then question them and just give them a good shot and chat about them. I think it's I find that the most valuable, really, in these sort of communities. It's not like I'm saying this is a course by the end of, you know, I mean, God, there's a million of those get rich quick gurus out there. Do this for 4 weeks and I promise you'll have a better life. It's like, do this for 4 weeks and you've got a chance of, committing to something for a much longer period that might really benefit you. So, 4 weeks is a good time in which to say, wow, there's possibly something in this. Maybe I should stick with it. But
I like that.
That's down to the individual.
And then maybe over the Christmas period, your relatives or your friends might appreciate the fact that you've done.
I think everyone's relatives probably would, yeah.
It's like if there was one thing I could ask for Christmas, it would be that all my friends and relatives all started to do a little bit of practice, and we're all just able to be nice. Come on, everyone, be nice.
That's it. Maybe you've either got to do meditation or everyone has to get disastrously drunk, one or the other. Normally everyone goes for the second one.
Yeah, they do, and that often either just leads to sleeping or violence.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think in the run up to Christmas, it's a good time. I generally find that most people dive into this stuff before Christmas or just after, because they're feeling so fried after the festivities are over, and the thought of a whole new year is a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people. So I think I bet every gym and yoga studio and everything else in the country is probably swamped in the first week of January. But it's that commitment thing again. By the last week of January, 75% of those people have flaked out and disappeared. So they're never going to get those big muscles, and they're never going to get fitter cardio health or anything else, because you have to stick with whatever you start if you want to be good at it. That's just that's life, isn't it?
Yeah, the trick is to do it. And the other question we've been asked is, give us an idea of a very quick practice that we can do. I have a little idea of what you might say.
As I say, do whatever one you like, as long as you stick with it. But
do it. Just do something. Go on. What would you do?
What do I do?
Daily go-to.
I will do well. What I do as my daily go-to might not necessarily be useful for people who are new to it, but like if I'm in bed at night, say, this would be my go-to in bed, and I wake up because I'm a man of a certain age who needs to get up multiple times for a wee in the night, and then you've got to get back to sleep before you wake up too much, or you're doomed for 3 hours of lying there fidgeting. And I actually take that time as my practice time. So I'm like, everybody's asleep. I've got nothing else to do. I don't really want to get up and start doing my admin right now or whatever else I've got to do. I'm going to lie in bed. It's very peaceful. And I do just watch my breath or observe my breath. And I minimize it. But, and I can get back to sleep in seconds, minutes, because you just become so relaxed that you just drift off. Now, people will try that and say, well, it didn't work for me. And I say, no, I'm sure it didn't work for you, because it's taken me years and years of practicing to get quite good at that skill. But if you want to, you got to start tonight, when you wake up, or tomorrow when you're sitting on the bus feeling, like you're going to have a panic attack. You start where you are, and that's the first time. But if you don't stick with it, you won't get good at it. It's just a skill.
It's just that.
It's
okay.
So watch your breath. Count 5 breaths down. 5 breaths down from 5 to 0. If you get to 0, start again. And if you find that you got to 2 or 3 or 4 and you've already tangled back up in your thoughts, then just notice that. Not a problem. Go back to 5 and start again. The practice is the practice. The practice isn't a perfection. That's what people get confused. Oh, I'm not good at this. Oh, I'm rubbish. Oh, I keep thinking. I'm trying to do this. No, I can't stop thinking. That's why we call it a practice. We don't call it a perfection. If it was a perfection, you wouldn't have to do it.
Got me there.
You'd already be good at it.
And can I get a final tip from you about a little practice to help with anxiety? Are you going to tell me to watch my breath again?
Well, no, because the breath makes some people anxious,
Okay.
so I'm very aware of that.
Okay.
There are so many. I mean, I like sounds. I really like sounds. They're very sort of there. It's very rare unless you live somewhere like I do in the middle of nowhere. It's absolutely silent, which is completely silent here right now. But for most of us, there's something in the house, even if it's the fridge or there's a bird outside or a plane going overhead. And I love listening to sounds. Like I just try and let my awareness broaden out and out and out and out as I pick up more and more and more and more sounds in the environment, without focusing on any of them particularly. And then I start to listen for the silence, and that's where it gets really cool. Because you rather than listening for the sounds, you listen for the silence that's in between the sounds, and you also start to see that there's silence behind the sounds. Even when the sounds are there, there's still silence behind it. The sounds have to come from somewhere. They don't come from other sounds. They come from silence. So there's lots of layers to that practice, but you can get really deeply immersed in it, and it's a good one for very quickly taking you out of an anxious moment or something.
I love that technique.
I
Thank you.
love it too.
And I'm going to share one thing that you shared with me, which is probably one of your trade secrets, so I shouldn't share it. But you shared it with us in the live course last year, and it's something which ridiculously has really stayed in my
Go on.
head, which is every time I go under a door frame,
Yeah.
I become aware of my breath, and it's really good. It's a real superpower because I'm like,
Just
and it's almost like it's trying to charges it because obviously it's only for microseconds.
yeah,
Otherwise, life would take
of
a very
course,
long time.
totally.
But it's like charges me. I'm like, oh, here I am.
Yeah,
Here I
yeah.
am.
I'm there
Like I might be getting the laundry or running around or running late for a meeting. Yet here I am.
just for a second. It's true. It's just like what we'd call a little mindfulness bell. It's like
Oh, I love
a
that
little
one.
reminder. That or anything. Boiling the kettle. I boil the kettle enough times in the day. So that's just like 3 minutes of just, I'll just watch my breath 3 minutes. Oftentimes I'm not, I don't want to give anyone the impression that I'm some sort of incredible guru, because I'm definitely not. I'm a human like everyone else. But, when I do remember, those days are so much calmer and easier to navigate when you're on it like that.
And I think I think for me, the thing that you brought home to me on the course was the ability to find little nuggets of time to be able to practice in. And that's what made it for me really accessible. Was like, okay, we've got like the daily practice, which is this. And then we've got the little tiny nuggets that keep me awake.
Yeah.
Like wake up in the day.
Well, they're the bits that integrate it into the day, and that's what we really want to do with this stuff. It's like I don't want to be calm. I don't want to just be able to be calm for little half-hour stints here and there, or peaceful or still. I want to be able to be calm 24/7. Like that's why I'm doing it, not so that I can just have a bloody dreadful day and then at night I sit down with my legs crossed for half hour and oh thank God, that's like basically my new bottle of red wine. So that's not really what I want it to be. I want it to be totally integrated in my life all the time. That isn't easy. I'm not saying for a second that's easy, but like we said before, nothing that's good is ever easy. Yeah.
And I kind of want to leave it on that. Because that's so cool. That's so cool. Nothing that's good is easy. So, yeah, people, I hear it. This is hard, but we can do hard things. We can do this.
Yeah, I'd just like to say as well, just add this in.
Yes.
There is a certain irony in there, in that this stuff is actually not a doing at all. So in essence, at first it feels like it, but it isn't a do. There's nothing you can do to be a better meditator apart from stop doing everything else. Not in your life, as if you just sit there all the time, but it's like it's not a doing. but it seems very hard because we're just so addicted to doing stuff.
Yes.
Um,
And here's, yeah, the good thoughts from Louise. I find it hard to find the calmness in general because I have a pressured job on a hamster wheel constantly. Yeah, I hear you. What tips can you give out, Dan?
what tips can I give to zone out?
Yeah.
I don't think I know what you're saying. I don't think you probably want to zone out. That's slightly different sort of approach. And most of the really wise masters say that when we get to grips with this stuff, we don't need to change anything about our lives at all. Like, you know, it doesn't really matter what job you're in or what circumstances you're in. Um, there's nothing you need to put in place for this to work, which is a little bit of what we often think. We think, oh, if this just wasn't there, or if I had a better job or a better partner or
Mm.
life insurance, it never will. But I understand certain jobs are very stressful. Um, so yeah, I think for you, you know, you want to just take those moments. That there must be moments in your day where you're able just to touch base with yourself, whether it is just, I don't know, going to the printer or, you know, making that cup of tea or just savoring a sip of a cup of coffee or something. There will be moments where you just connect with the moment rather than feeling like you're in, like what you said, is this hamster wheel. Because when we feel like we're in a hamster wheel, we feel completely disconnected from the world. Now, that's my experience of
Yes.
it when I feel stressed and rushed, and it feels like life is sweeping me along and there's no control. I'm not connected to it in any way. So, really, we don't want to detach anymore because we already sort of are detached in those situations. It sounds a bit bizarre, but we're not in touch with what's going on. We're just going through the motions. So we take these moments not to zone out really, but you know, to tune in. If you want to sound like you're from the 60s, we're really sort of zoning in. We're tuning in to ourselves.
Waking up to where we are and
Yeah,
how we are
because we.
and how we feel. Like, because that for me has been a lovely revelation of having that practice. It's like, yes, here I am, and I feel angry,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
fun.
kind of okay. And here I am, and I'm feeling stressed, and that's
Exactly.
okay.
And it's fine to feel angry. You know, none of this is about repressing or, you know, rejecting our natural human emotions and tendencies. Like, it is a human thing to get angry. It's a human thing. But what is an issue is when we don't realize that we're just angry, or what we say when we say I'm feeling angry, what we actually mean is my body feels a certain way and I'm responding to
Yes.
that, you know. But when we're not turned on or tuned in, or we're not awake, or whatever you want to call it, we will then act out on that feeling and snap at other people,
Yes.
etc., etc., and we start to create all of this, all of these problems for our life. You know, in yoga we would call that our karma. You know,
Mm.
karma is not some sort of divine retribution for being a bad person. Your karma is the fruit of your own actions. And of course, if you don't see that your body's feeling unpleasant and you're calling that anger, and then you react out or shout at someone, you're sowing the seeds of your own future karma, because then, you know, you're going to have probably future problems with that person you snapped at, or they're going to snap back at you, and so it goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, I'd say from this we learn to see what's going on, but you know, just because I feel angry, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop feeling angry. It just means that I have the clarity to see it and then not act out irrationally. I would still be, you know, you'd still be able to act wisely, you say, rather than reacting.
Mm.
And it's really applicable life skills.
So I would say to you, Louise, come join us this time next Tuesday evening, because it's like these little nuggets. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I love the way that you present things, because it's so down to earth the way that you are, and so funny and so easy, and just applicable for life. It's not like it's not like it feels that you're feeling better than, or, you know, and that's what I really, really enjoy about the sessions. So, Dan, I want to be respectful of your time, and I'm just really grateful to you for chatting and talking us all through it. Thank you, Louise, for your question. Thank you, everybody on the Movers group who've asked your questions. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. It's lovely to ask, and you know, come and ask more questions. I love questions.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
especially
you're
love
great
questions I don't have
at
an answer
questions.
to. Do you know what? I mean, the questions are the best thing because generally you ask a question and like most other people are probably thinking it or something along that
Yes,
lines.
yes,
So most of the probably the most useful stuff that we actually address or come across
yes,
in sessions is always through the questions. It's not through the stuff that I've
yes,
prepared. You know, it's the stuff that comes up because it
yes,
comes up very naturally.
yes.
Um,
So come along and ask
come and
questions,
ask
everybody.
questions. I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but we just chew over them. That's the
Yes,
important thing.
that's right. Oh, thank you, Emma. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dan, I really, really look forward to seeing you. Oh, thank you, thank you. Great chat. Dan's always great to chat to, and I really look forward to more chats with you this time next week.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
Thank you, Louise.
Thanks, Louise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Much
Look forward to
love.
it.
I'm going to leave you to your evening.
Likewise. Thanks for asking me good
Yeah.
questions. Bye.
Bye.